such an asshole.
All right, I think video number 5, halfway done with the tonnage of original requests. The kind benefactor paid $350 for 10 original videos. You could pay for original videos too. Then I get to talk about what I like. How do I get the girls? This one's gonna be how do I get the guys? Because I had an interesting thing happen to me over at Asshole Consulting. This nice guy, he's looking out for his sister-in-law. He's married, and his sister-in-law is a very pretty, very good-looking, late 20-something gal from the Dominican Republic. He's like, Cappy, do you know anyone for this gal? And a couple flags. She was a virgin. Oh, what else? I'm kind of like, why are you, what was she, 27, 28? How have you not found a guy? There were some things, but regardless, when you have a really good looking young lady who wants to get married, she want to have kids, it's like, okay, I should have no problem finding a guy that wants this. And I said, well, what are your age limits? And I think she went up to 40. Okay. And then it dawned on me, like, I got a problem here. Like, I know some guys 40 plus, if you go up to 40, and most of my friends, colleagues are over 40. And those were really the only ones that I would think like, yeah, he's got a job. He's in shape. He's masculine. He ain't going to tolerate no crap. He's got a good house. He's got his finances together, looking for a gal, but doesn't want to have kids. So I start going younger. And I'm like, not in part because, well, in part, not so much, though in part, if that's the way to spell it, that I don't have that many colleagues, friends, younger, in their 30s. But more so in the part, like, I don't know anyone. Like, none of these guys qualify. Because let's just admit, this gal's like a 9.5. Very good looking gal. And I'm not just going to grab, no offense, love him like a brother. I'm not setting her up with Chris Beckloff. That'd be like the perfect age, his mid-30s. But he's overweight, and he doesn't have no ambition beyond working his job and living a very simplistic life voluntarily. He's chosen that, which is fine. Well, I'm not going to, no, that's not going to happen. No. And I keep looking, and I'm like, do I know any younger people? I got clients. And then it slowly dawned on me that for larger you ladies in your 20s, it's different than even gals that would be in their 30s and 40s, because at least in the older millennials and certainly younger Gen Z, there was some investment made, some efforts. There was some still masculine dads around that taught their sons, hey, you got to get a job. You got to go to school. And I know it sounds a bit obscure, but I use Barack Obama's kind of a barometer there. A barometer. Anyway, because he was this leftist putz and he never had a real job. But at the same time, like, look, he's got a nuclear family. He looked like a loving father and a guy who was a patriarch. You looked at him. Maybe that's because he looked presidential. But whereas he was, a leftist financially, he would say he ended the fake schools, the Pell Grant sponges. He even had the balls to say maybe you should major in something that isn't art history, and he caught flack for that. There was still an element of reality in the old millennial generation. Like, there was an anchoring in reality. But then I look at Z and younger alpha, whatever's coming up, the age that I would have to set this gal up with. And there is nowhere near, even if you were a traditional gal who wanted to get married and have kids, and I've had that before, I'm like, I got nothing. Like, there was a 19-year-old girl, I don't want to go to college. I just want to be a wife and raise children. I'm like, okay, let me see. Well, I got nothing. In this aisle, there are no 20-something men who could support you. And in part, that's because we failed to invest in masculine male infrastructure. We've just been beating the crap out of masculinity. We've been beating the crap out of patriarchy in the good sense, where There would be a reliable man who would take care of the family and be the ward cleaver. He would be, be the provider and the protector. So there's no men that are on that financial level, or very few. But then it dawned on me psychologically, these boys aren't going to be there either. A lot of these gals come from overseas, non-traditional, non-Western, non-American backgrounds. They're overseas. They're religious. And the only thing I can say, well, you're going to have to find any religious or go back to the home country, which is largely the advice I give to men. Like, look, especially we get some first wave immigrants or first generation Americans. What the heck? I'm from wherever, Vietnam, the Philippines. I'm like, you want my advice? Go back to Bulgaria, which is a joke only a few of you will get. And I say, yeah, you got to, there's so many cultural things you have in common. You have to go to a different environment. The women here are just not traditional. They're not in the market. They don't want that. But then it's on the flip side, where the occasional rare gal, I'm looking for a traditional guy. I'm like, okay, not only did you, not you, but the societies and the parents' generations before beat the masculinity out of them or deprive them of it. We're now coming up on a generation that has been brought up on the internet. Like, they were born into the internet, okay, 1997, I believe. 5-10 years until they're kids. So they really did have the internet, and the what's the word? The message, the information, what is rapidly becoming common sense, although maybe it was digital common sense, it's been out there. And it has served as a counterweight to what would have been the spoken word or the societal, traditional, mainstream media common sense of get married and have children and women and all this and all that other stuff. Well, that the most recent generation has been inoculated against that. That wasn't the only message they got. So when puberty kicked in, they weren't having any success. Unlike, my generation, like, what the hell? You would stupidly ask your mother or your female, what am I? Dad's fishing in the wrong hole. Maybe you attract the wrong type of woman. I don't know, just be. Instead of that, then you had Saint Lycus. You had patron Saint Rollo. You got me, you had Roosh, you had all this other, in the prototypical form back in the olden days, by olden days, I mean the aughts. And then young men were like, wait a minute. But now we got a generation of men that's been there. And what's his name? Thinking Ape, who should all tune into. You could tell he's a linguistic guy. He pointed out that there will not be red pill rage with the younger generations because they know they will have not wasted their years, their youth, trial and erroring in an incredibly inefficient analog way where you had to lift up every stone. Whereas now you got all the field reports, all the empirical data, conveniently put it here, not only in empirical form and data-like form, but digested and presented and reduced, not in a negative sense, but boiled down to some axioms, some rules, some clarity, some explanation, so you would never be misled or confused and wasting time. Young men today got the answer like that. The saying, some scientist said, it's not that I'm amazing or great, it's that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, meaning all the cumulative work, I think it was in chemistry or physics, that had led up to this man. He didn't have to move from alchemy to discovering atoms and valence electron configuration. They knew that, they figured it out. And then he took his life and added on top of the pyramid of those bricks to reach an even higher peak. And we've kind of done that here. We've reconstituted what was common sense back in the olden days. So here it is. And because of the speed of the internet and because of the network of agents in the field we have, we keep up with the arms race. Fresh and fit, got the shirt right here. Those guys are like, they're on the hypergamic game. They know everything about the online dating. We're keeping up with it, so there's no confusion. And when these young men, one, have the political environment of masculinity bad, broken homes, single mothers, deadbeat dads, predominantly female teachers, already the environment is telling these guys, you're worthless. I know you girls thought it was funny and cute, but when you tell men that you don't need them, they listen. And so that is the traditional. We had that environment going back in the 70s and the 80s. All right. So that's square one. Then you build on top of it with all the empirical data and the research and all that coming in on the internet. They search and they find out, oh, they really don't. It just reconfirms and corroborates. Yeah, they really don't. They really don't. They're not that interested in you. That these men not only don't make any significant percentage of them, very few men go on to like, well, I am going to take that challenge. I am going to become Rich Cooper. I am going to become the best version of myself as I possibly can. Most say, screw this, and they throw in the towel. And not irrationally so. They do a cost-benefit analysis. They do an economic judgment. Like, is my life worth this? And so not only do you, and you've beaten it out of like, oh, don't fight, no bullies, don't be boys. Boys are bad, boys are tough. So now you girls are lacking all these masculine men. I mean, I'm talking physically, but they're also absent psychologically. None of these guys are out there getting prepared or ready or even entertained as a serious thing, getting married or having children. So whereas you lament the loss of physically attractive masculine men, they're all soy boys, fat, soft, skinny fat, or just outright fat neats living at home. These guys aren't even in the mentality of being masculine. They're really, I've said it before, they're shutting down. They're going into a catatonic state. They're going into a hibernation type of mode, which is to save your energy. That's why animals do it, to save their energy. Like, there ain't going to be no food, ain't no reason, it ain't spring, aren't little bunny rabbits for me to have sex with. So I'm gonna shut down until this winter passes. Because that's where these guys are kind of retreating into their own things. But you girls are now seeing, why don't men ask? Men don't ask. They don't. Now, technology, a lot of that is to blame on technology because now we swipe. And you could argue that a swipe right is kind of asking a girl out, but it isn't really that. And I'm sure you girls in the comments section will cry. And I would. I latest book, I tried to reach out to women. So I got to do some more marketing, admittedly, on that. But when's the last time you girls had someone ask you out in person? I'm sure it's been quite some time. Well, men aren't going to do that. They've been conditioned not to. They're not dumb. In some ways, men are dumb. Yes, I was one and still am, and I wasn't batting 1,000 all the time. But they pay attention, and words have consequences. Words have meaning. And with all that, they have not, it's not just going to the gym, but it's also going to the gym, which you could say was the nightclub or the cute girl at the coffee store. I mean, here's a perfect example. Read any one of Rush's books. Shoot, that's if you can find them. But when you read through him at the coffee store, he has graphs and diagrams and maps and everything. That was a gym. That was going to a gymnasium to exercise, but not so much lifting weights and picking up heavy objects to set them down. Only to repeat that process to the point you're bored. It was rehearsing and going up and talking to girls. It was practice. It was maybe more of a dojo would be a better analogy. He was practicing his technique. Men, why can't they all be like Troy Francis and scripted like Cary Grant in the movies? Because they don't have no practice. And they have no incentive to go and practice. Ladies, reason I give you the advice, like, look, you're gonna have to start asking out the guys now. You got to give up this. Well, I'm a feminist in these categories, but I still like being a traditional. No. I know, Aaron. Are you trying to introduce reality to women? I don't know. They'll just pick up a different website or magazine that tells them how things ought to be. I'm trying to deliver how it is. But not only when's the last time did a guy ask you out, have you considered the dynamics that men don't have an incentive to ask you out? They have not prepared or rehearsed. And if they are going to ask you out, it's going to be awk. They say, oh, dude, he's totally awk, meaning awkward. That was like 5-8 years ago. So, dude, he's totally awk. What else? She said he was derp. That's a DRP. Derp. I don't know what that means. I think it's an IT reference because she was an IT. Oh, he's so derpy. I'm like, what? I know, wasn't that exciting. uh, but yeah, these guys haven't been trained. And don't worry, you got rid of the masculine father, so there was no like, yeah, you got to go up, kind of funny, witty. You got to go to the gym, right? So not only are you lacking physically attractive men, which I'm sympathetic towards you girls with, those numbers don't lie on the dating apps and the numbers come out like only 1 in 5 men you find attractive. I have to go with the gals. Because, yeah, only 1 in 5, 70% of men are overweight. So are you ladies. So it's only 30% that are physically attractive. I can see it. I'm with you, sister. But the days of, look, the only guys going to ask out would be like a Troy France, going to be the older guys, which again reemphasizes my point. For younger gals, Troy, I think, is about my age. He's early 40s or something like that. I'm old 40s, practically dead. Unless you're okay with older men, which, grody, creepy. You're reliant up, especially younger gals. That's your age bracket, and these guys are not trained to ask you out. And it's part because we didn't invest in masculine culture. We didn't invest in a masculine infrastructure. These boys did not have their fathers. Their fathers, dude, there's no Vietnam vet dads raising their children now, okay? You got Gen X at the eldest and millennials raising their kids. And Gen X and millennial men are not men. Sorry, not sorry. You guys are weak sauce. Yeah, you are. I mean, the number of guys I've seen my age and a little bit older, some boomers, send their daughters off to some cripplingly worthless, overpriced college degree liberal arts program. And then they come back and like, I guess I'll go bartend. Like, you could have done that. Where was the father? But my wife might divorce me. Okay, it's good that you fear your wife more than you love your daughter. Great. Okay, just, So that's who's raising the current crop of young boys you maybe would like to have you ask out. These guys are all getting divorced, getting their asses handed to them. There's no masculine fathers anymore raising these guys. And when you put that in the environment of K through 12, K through college, which is anti-masculine, and you got the internet corroborating everything that's going on, like, yeah, these young boys are like, is my radar off or is it really that bad? We come in with that. No, your radar's working fine. Missiles incoming. Get ready. You're 12 and a half. Get ready, son. And it's not proactive. Unfortunately, you look at most, not all. There's some hope. There's some proactive, and here's what you could do to improve. A lot of it, I would say 75% of the information these boys are getting in, quote, the red pill community is defensive in nature. I mean, it's deprogramming, it's basic training. Like, here's how it really would, like, okay, all this crap your single mom gave you, get rid of it. All this crap your teachers gave you, get rid of it. Here's how it is. And you better duck now. You got armor? You done? You better go get some. And like, here's how you got to look out. So men are playing a defensive game. They're not going out on the offensive. And I don't know if you girls remember this, you claim to be equal. Men read that as you claim to be equal. And so logically, like, well, they'll ask us out then half the time. That'll make sense. Yeah. You see, I like the benefits of feminism, but I'm more a traditional girl. But I won't tell anyone. Why are you guys asking me out? Shink, shink, pow. So, and I just want to, I'm repeating what I've said before, and that you girls are going to have to take more agency and action if you're going to have to become equals in this regard. If it's that important to you, you girls are also going to have to lower your expectations. If you were expecting to find some kind of traditionally masculine man who could support a family and earn an income and all that, that's increasingly going to be there's another perfect example. Look, if a guy don't think he's ever going to get married and he's never going to have kids because you said you didn't need him, words have consequences. Is that guy going to invest in a career? Is that guy going to make a lot of money? I mean, I think tell me if I'm wrong, ladies, but I think one of your number one complaints is the number of men that live at home well into their 30s. Well, what? Did you give him a reason not to? Was there a cute blonde with big kazooms that says, "Boy, I like sex and I want to make my man happy"? The guy's got to have a reason to get up in the morning. And if a guy don't have a wife or kids and never entertains that as a possibility in their lives, they say, well, geez, I don't need that much to live. I only need 25 grand. And look at all the government programs you girls vote in. Look at all this UBI and welfare and stimmy checks and student loan bailouts. Man, I don't have to work at all. If anything, I'm going to become T-Rash. That's about the best you could hope for, but I'm not going to. Mom and dad, my dad, who's a ball-ass, nutless sack of wonder, he's not going to kick me out of the house. Mom's not going to kick me out of the house. I don't have to get a job. You girls keep voting in all the socialist stuff. I get free health care, Medicare, Medicaid, or whatever it is that you get. I don't have to improve. This is great. Thanks, girls. Maybe you girls could vote even more Democrat. Here, look, girls, contact Ocasio-Cortez and Nancy Pelosi and all the other gals out there and see if you could vote in a video game subsidy. Okay. Like, do you know 3 out of 5 men can't afford the latest video game console? But with your help, and by your help, I mean other people's taxpayer money, we could have a video game program, government video game program. Okay. And it'd be for all the disadvantaged boys who have to settle for PlayStation 4 instead of a PlayStation 5, and they can't afford AAA games. I mean, do you girls hate poor people? Do you want men in America? America, damn it! How could it come to this? He only has a PlayStation 4, not a PlayStation 5. But with your help, and by your help, I mean other people's money through the taxpayer, we could vote that in, right? So contact your Congress people, all right, ladies? Democrats, obviously, because you don't vote Republican. And we need to help out these boys more to stay at home. That's the one I never understood. But pull the Democrat lever all the time. Why aren't there any men? I don't know. You pay them not to work. You pay them not to go to the gym. You pay them just to exist. Why would they go to work? And on top of it, you said you didn't need them. Are you shocked? You're surprised they live at home? Oh, but anyway, for the younger gals out there who haven't swallowed this Marxist, leftist, communist stuff whole, and you want to get married, you want the traditional thing, I'm sorry, you are going to have to go. I mean, it's slim pickings in the West. You're going to have to go religious, and that doesn't guarantee they're going to be hardworking dudes, because I can assure you, Christian families spoil rotten their boys anyway. You're going to have to go overseas. You're going to have to, and usually, if I look at it, there is a cultural uniqueness to these ladies. Like this gal's from the Dominican. I don't know, go to the Dominican. There's got to be some religious traditional men there. One gal was an immigrant from a different place, and I'm like, well, why don't you go back there? She's like, because it's war torn. I'm like, okay, I guess you got to live before you fall in love. And then there's some gals who are just younger and they're really traditional, and like, I guess go to the church. But the church is just so pussified. And they're like, well, you could go Muslim, which are more masculine, but now it's a different religion. You maybe don't believe in that religion, you know? I'm sorry, ladies, you kind of facing the same problem here that the guys are. There's just not enough marriageable women to go around. And if you want, go pick up my book, The Menu, Life Without, no, The Menu, that's not it. Go pick up my book, The Book of Numbers, Analyzing the ROI and the Pursuit of Women, because even though it obviously is written for men from an analytical standpoint there, the numbers in there still show you like, well, it's that bad for men too. So, that's it. So I wish I could help you out. I would. Well, by the way, guys, don't even, I'm interested. No, because then I look at your profiles. I'm like, no, you're just like this nerd and not a good nerd. I'm only, I got my team. And besides what you said, well, let me talk to the gal. And I never heard back from him, because I'm like, what are you looking for? Like, give me some specifics. I only recommend men I know. I can't recommend some rando on the internet to this otherwise innocent girl. What happened to the body? Why am I getting a lawsuit? All right. So if you would kindly subscribe. Link down below is Bachelor Pad Economics for you guys who want to get your financial act together. Let's go through the super chats. See if there's any super chats here. Scrolling up. Vlad Elkham's in the house. Ron Suarez is here. Yeah, Ron. You'd have to go back to, you know what, Ron? Because you're from Colombia or you are Colombian descent. Regardless, I go back to Colombia, man, and I do a field report. I'd love to hear what you got to say about Colombia. I mean, you have an obvious advantage speaking the language and being from there. Oh, there's no super chats. A lot of Elkins in there. There's Jennifer. Chad, should you be working? Oh, here we go. Vince, $10. Too many women have walked away because I refuse to make them the most important thing in my life, though paradoxically doing that makes you unattractive. No, I refuse to make them the most important thing. No, that makes you attractive, unfortunately. Limiting supply increases value. It's that simple. I think you meant to say attractive. Yeah, unfortunately, look, in the olden days, it was very simple. Wow, you're a great gal. She'd say, wow, you're a great guy. I'm sick and tired of looking at myself in the mirror, and I think I found a really cool person who I love more than myself. And reciprocally, she would love you more than herself, and you guys would help each other out because you cared so deeply about each other. Now it's Game of Thrones crap. It's a chess game. Girls have to I'm going to throw up the fences. I'm going to do that. I'm going to move my pawn here. My rook is like, look, dude, you can either work together or not. Okay. And I know you all been conditioned to and that's where I feel bad for these young girls because that's what they're looking for. They're not doing the games. They've seen how miserable, baby boomer women have been. They look at the Gen X spinsters like, I don't want any of that. I don't know. Maybe they like the guy. Yeah, there's always and even going back into my day, there was always a catch. There was rarely, I think, 3 instances where the girl was ride or die. I like you for you. Let's go. But even then, one was it was 2. It was 2. One wouldn't have sex. Like, okay, yeah, they're gone. Just get out of here. By the way, boys, if they're not going to have sex, done. That's middle school crap. Get out. That's no. Yeah, there was always just and as you get older, you gotta on Modern Life Dating YouTube, we talked about this, where as you get older, your testosterone goes down and the mystique of women wear off. It really is. Look, are you gonna be a positive? Are you gonna contribute to my life? Or are you just gonna make this painful trying to extract a price out of me? And you're gonna find out they're gonna try and extract a price. All the dancing and the courting and oh, well, I don't know. Let's get coffee first. Da, da, da. And you're listening to the boring. You're like, I don't have time for this. I just don't. And unfortunately, ladies, that's the other thing. If you got guys when you're younger at 18, that's when they're most, it's a sales term. Like they're hot to buy because of their hormones. You're 35. And now it's time to settle down. Now you're trying to sell the men in their 40s who maybe got half the testosterone and a hell of a lot more wisdom and absolutely no patience for this BS. And you want to sell them marriage? and then you come in there like, oh. Try this. I don't know. You go try. Okay. Just make the guy a sandwich. Okay. Just show up and make him a sandwich. Or on a first date, instead of this, first date, I don't know, make him a cupcake. Just make him a small gesture of kindness. And don't interview him like Karen in HR. Just, I don't know, hi. Here, I made you a cupcake. The guy is going to look at that cupcake like, what? Is it got cyanide in it? Are there cameras on me? What's going on? He may not even eat the cupcake. He may save it, might put it under glass and a light saying, this woman in 2022, 17 years ago, gave me a cupcake. I wanted to remind me that I wasn't going crazy. Do you guys see the cupcake? You see it too? Okay, I didn't imagine that. The cupcake is real. All right. I think that'd be good if you girls called cupcake game. Okay. You girls, you could buy it, by the way. Just lie and, maybe buy it at an obscure uh, confectionery store. So, hey, I know those cupcakes. I buy those all the time over at the cheap grocery store at Aldi's. Don't get the Aldi's cupcakes. Find something, that looks like you made it. And just maybe, here, I brought you a cupcake. The guy, dude, okay, ladies, listen up. You want to make $1 million? $1 million idea. Okay, whoever rushes off to this first, okay? All you girls have to do is you get a YouTube channel, okay? You call yourself the Cupcake Girl or Cupcake Lady or Cupcake Dame, whatever. And you just film every time you meet a guy on a first date, you film his reaction when you give him a card. I just got you this cupcake. You film it, you put it on YouTube, you monetize it, $1 million. You get 1 million subs. Everyone would look at it like, that's so weird. Look at that fascinating behavior. Wow. The Cupcake Girl. And if you're going to do it, I'd have to do something. I have to set up a channel. Then I'd have to go out on dates and get cupcakes. I have to film it and edit it and upload the video. That's too much work for $1 million. Oh. Cupcake Girl. How simple. Just a video channel of you girls randomly treating guys nice. Hi, I'll get you a coffee. What? You could have other people filming. You gotta be like, what the hell's going on? I think most guys would be okay having that film be made. Exuberant Tarot. I enjoy you. You're a blast. Thank you. You're a girl too. What the Atham? What are you letting the girls in? Is Atham in here? Letting the girls in. God darn it. We even sprayed for girls yesterday and they're still coming in. Thank you, Exuberant Tarot. If you're a gal, could you go read my book and review it or something? I'm trying to get exposure to the lady audience. That's it. There we go. The Blue Wrench. Oh, hey, Doc, I got your book in the mail. I picked it up at the postal place. And so I'm not going to read it. Hold on. Now it's paperback. Hold on. I'm going to read it or nothing here. I just say I got it. Okay. When it turns into audiobook, 3 years from now, I'll go ahead and listen to it. All right. That's it. Questions, answers. AsselConsulting.com. We'll see you guys later too.